Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the super amazing Literary Apocalypse Time Skip Lightning Round. As always, we have a packed show for you, so before anything else, let's give our guests a chance to introduce themselves. Guests?
Okay, I'm Matty.
And I'm Lena.
I'm Adea. Hi.
I'm Danny.
I'm Kamal.
I'm JD.
I'm Nelson.
My name is Ram.
I am Tamer.
I am Ophel.
She's Ophel. I'm Rotem.
I'm Elul.
Lovely. And I swear they get lovelier every time. For any first-time viewers, the rules of the game are very simple. The contestants will be faced with a series of time skips from pieces of media, and they will have to discuss and deliberate on whether or not they count as literary apocalypses. At the end of each round, we'll tally everyone's answers and we'll count them using the help of our good friend, the scoreboard! So, without further ado, let's get into the game. One of the most popular and controversial show of the last 10, or at this point 12 years, it's Attack on Titan! Now let's meet our contestants for this round. Contestants, discuss!
Fight.
So I do consider it a literary apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's like a second apocalypse, right?
Okay, first of all, we're having a big jump. However, to like the viewers, it's like an entirely different context and almost birthing a new idea of this world that we knew so little about.
That is very much just, this is a different show that turned from like, somewhat political zombie apocalypse to, this is straight up just a war show now. Yeah, I think that counts as a literary apocalypse.
When I think too much about what he was doing inside of that time loop and even triggering that time loop at all, it gives me a headache because it's like, why did he do that?
There is a time skip, but I don't think the fact that you skipped forward in time is
I won't say the time skip itself. I would say more the basement reveal.
Is it a singular event? Because it's like an invasion. There's a lot of things happening, right?
Maybe them discovering that they're not the only humans in the world anymore. Whereas before that, it was a smaller world, but I think their purpose was more grand in some sense.
Because it's kind of hard to define something as a singular event if it affects other things.
You're getting a little nitty-gritty with it, because it's like saying that 9/11 is not a singular event because the planes crashed into the building and also the building fell and also people died and also there was an explosion and also...
The people on the island have now become a direct, measurable threat to the people who are living on the continent.
What even is a singular event? Is the guy to trigger a singular
that's-
event? Is the bullet
if
passing
we want-
through
If you want to be an Aquarius about it.
Exactly.
What I see maybe as an apocalypse for them actually starts like Aaron bombarding the event at Marley.
Yeah, for the audience, it's an apocalypse. But for the characters of the outside world, it isn't really.
Yeah, there's us, the viewers, who know the ins and outs of the stories from different and like multiple character POVs. And then if we're talking about Aaron's point of view, it is an apocalypse. And then for some other characters, it's like they're finding it's Tuesday.
I fucking hate Aaron Yeager.
This is gonna sound real out of pocket, but I feel like I wouldn't like Isayama as a person.
Yeah, but I don't think I would like Inio Asano as a person either.
Was a literary apocalypse a literal apocalypse, and it was an apocalypse on my mental health.
What an amazing round! I sure learned a lot about, big guys? Anyway, let's take a look at that scoreboard. Fantastic! Thank you so much, scoreboard. Our second show is a PSA on the dangers of manga making, as well as the second best satirical gay rom-com ever made after Fight Club. It's Berserk! Contestants!
Fight.
In its own aspect,
Hell yeah, bro. Demons and shit came out of it.
Why would he sacrifice his friends? Is he stupid?
I mean, I feel like the eclipse is the study case for a literary apocalypse.
Like everything
Yeah,
changed.
magic
and then,
starts like appearing in the world.
and then the further you got, the more fantastical it got. Yeah, I think it counts.
It's like the golden standard.
I mean, that definitely is Guts' apocalypse. Like, he's rendered useless. Yeah, it's almost sort of like conclusion to it, like the final blow that he can't fix it. I think it's more something that happened to Guts and that he had to suffer more on his shoulders rather than changing the entirety of the world around them. It seems more
It
like
is a literary
left
apocalypse,
Guts.
but like you kind of just know it's going to happen. You know that Guts and Femto have some like beef with each other, and it's pretty big beef.
For context again, Lena.
Sorry, a good friend is.
I mean, did he really do anything wrong?
I'm gonna end this phone call right now.
There's this one moment where what the fuck is his name?
This guy's name was Judo.
Judo. Then he gets stabbed, and he fucking dies and goes, I could have been smoother than that. So yeah, definitely the eclipse is a literary apocalypse, I'd say.
What would be your opinion on the second apocalypse of Berserk?
Like, it is a different kind, but the boat is also a literary apocalypse.
For me, it's not an apocalypse because, like, it feels too much like a process of the world rather than a singular event changing everything.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
To me, it, like, ends on such an open, like, ending. And I think that's kind of perfect in some way. Like,
there's a lot of cope in there, but I think the sentiment.
Yeah, of course there's a lot of cope. He fucking died.
Wow, what a fantastic round. There was a bit of friction there that time. So let's see what our scoreboard has to say. Say thank you, scoreboard.
Thank you,
scoreboard. Our next and final round is about the Orange Menace himself, the cat that's been on your Sunday newspaper since 1978. Believe it or not, it's Naruto!
Yo, that one moment where Sosuke Bosuke dies
You haven't
horribly.
seen it?
I've not seen Naruto!
Our next and final round is about the 2006 Game of the Year winner and other second best satirical gay rom-com ever made after Fight Club, Death Note! Contestants! Fight!
Oh god.
I'm going to Comic-Con as like Yagami. I was like, holy shit, I literally have articles of clothing that is literally just Light Yagami's outfit. So that was kind of terrifying. So Death Note does obviously have a time skip, but I'm not sure if you could call it a literary apocalypse because even though the stakes change,
I would definitely consider it an apocalypse
because you can point to a singular event.
I would call it an apocalypse.
Not really. Like, same issue with Code Geass, the show just kind of continues.
Because the status quo wouldn't have changed in this case.
It's almost a spectrum. It's really relative when you think about it, because it did change the status quo between the characters in that small frame of theirs. And I think in that way, it sort of does change the status quo, not in a really grandiose way.
Like, the differences are now Light has a job instead of...
No, because I don't think it affects all characters, namely the new characters that are introduced. It's just him being replaced, right? I mean, like, there's still detectives. And, like, the relationship is still the same.
Instead of L, we got N and M.
This is the first time I ever realized it's L and N.
Did you really not get that?
I never thought of that.
That's so funny.
Like the first part of Death Note was like crystal clear.
In the first half, it's just like back-to-back light W's. Honestly, you hate to see it. In the second half, he gets his ass absolutely fucking kicked.
And then after L dies, it's like, well, the story is gonna become weirdly forgettable.
Because that was the whole story.
You have a bunch
there
of
wasn't really anything, like any scope beyond it.
However, you have a bunch of characters, and a lot of them just die, and then other characters are introduced in the middle of the season or in the beginning of the season to replace them.
I mean, I guess they just see it from the narrative perspective that after that point, the story is just told differently.
There's a beautiful moment in Death Note where all just goes randomly. It would be really bad for me if you were Kira, because I fear you're the first friend I've ever had. And you know what the author said about it?
What is it?
Mel actually hates Light so much, it's not real. It was never real.
Light is a psychopath. So
He's so comically evil that it's just hilarious.
I love like imagining him in very unfortunate situations. It's so
It's a
funny.
progression though. It's very
It's a
natural progression.
so it's not like the time skip only works for the progression to work.
Yeah, I'm gonna hard disagree on it being a literary apocalypse, because when you said that he got rid of an object, the fact that it was replaced with a very similar object in the time skip, so like I just think this kind of feels very samey.
But can he defeat Vegeta?
Does he know that brother's full name?
What an incredible round! Do you feel your heart pounding? No? Not my problem. My only problem is this beautiful new scoreboard! No, scoreboard! He was so young. Anyway, that was the end of the super amazing Literary Apocalypse time skip lightning round. I'd like to thank our wonderful guests one final time for taking time out of their impressively busy lives to be in this goofy video. We will now return to your schedularly regulated programming after a message from our sponsor, Chips.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of these are time skips.
That's the point.
That's the point. That's what we're doing.